Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where it is drop day for all of the new Kizer knives to be released, as well as some big name restocks that I know a lot of people have been waiting for. So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right into it because this video is going to be longer than normal. I got some somewhat full reviews as well as some overviews of the new variants of older models to come out. So let's get into it. Let's take a look at the restocks first. And on top of all the new models coming out, we are looking at restocks of this big bad boy right here, the Kizer Mystic, as well as this one right here, which is a beauty, a very underrated one, the Kizer Huntsman. Maybe it's not underrated because it actually sold out very quickly. So these two are coming back in stock, as well as this guy right here, the Kizer, the Kizer Brat. I was gonna say Escort, and I was like, no, it's not the Escort. It is the Brat. The Kizer Brat, as well as one of my favorite knives for all of last year, this guy right here, the Kizer Militaw, in all of its elegant, slender beauty. All four of these knives, plus some very nice variants of the Kizer Drop Bear. Some more premium types of drop bears are going to be dropping. So all of these and more available on the restocks. Now let's get these ones out of the way and let's talk about the new releases, because there are some really good ones. And what I'm going to do this time, which I don't do all the time, but for this one right here, I'm going to bring all of them out real quick at first, just to kind of look at these things together, because this has been a very, very diverse drop from Kizer. A lot of options, and I'll explain that when I get everything out on the table here as we're looking at them. A lot of different options that I love, because if there's one thing I love more than knives, it's a lot of options with my knives. And this drop here has huge differences in size. We have 3 different blade steels, 4 different types of handle materials, and 5 great designs. And we're going to take a look at all of them right now. I got 4 reviews on the new models, as well as just kind of somewhat brief overviews of the new variants. And that's where we're going to start right here with the new variants of the Kizer Sheepdog. And we have 2 very different options here. We have a brass with a button lock, or we have this incredible fat carbon with the clutch lock. Now, when it comes to size on these are very, very similar. These are not the mini sheepdogs. These are not the sheepdog XLs. These are the regular, original, mid-size sheepdogs. So we're looking at an overall length of right around 7.7 inches, like 7.76 for the brass and 7.59 inches for the clutch lock version. Blade lengths right around 3.25-ish inches, give or take a little for the variant. Blade material, 3V blade steel on this. You don't see that a whole lot from Kizer. You've seen it before, but nice to see it on this one. And S35 on the clutch lock version, so you get that nice premium steel. 3V is actually a rather premium steel too, but if I had to take one, I think it's pretty much everybody loves S35. I mean, who doesn't like S35V and steel, am I right? I mean, I feel like that's one of the safest steels to use on a knife. Not like the most super premium crazy steel out there, but you just can't go wrong with it. Weight, there is a significant difference in weight here. Obviously, the carbon fiber is coming in at 4.36 inches, and this bad boy right here, this hefty beefcake is coming in at 7.9 ounces. And I will say, this feels like a heavy knife. There's no getting around it. But I was really, really surprised with this brass variant. And in terms of pricing, we're looking at $129 for the brass variant. And really, I think a very reasonable $189 for the fat carbon version. I was expecting that one to be... it wouldn't have surprised me if this was over 200, like 210, something just over north of 200, but it's not. 189 is not a bad price for that. And then when it comes to just the actual knives themselves, what I really like about this brass variant, I was highly questionable about this when I saw it, because I thought, man, this is definitely going to be heavy, so there needs to be something different about this, and there is, and that is the smoothness. The smoothness on this brass variant is, in my opinion, arguably the smoothest sheepdog yet. It is great. It is like just buttery smooth. And in terms of just comparing the button locks, I know the first button lock variant of the Sheepdog that came out was micarta, and that one was great. But this brass really does bring a different level of smoothness. This is noticeably smoother than the micarta variant. And I think that probably just has to do with the fact that, you know, it's all brass in here. There is a steel liner, but it just seems like everything is just so unified on this brass variant. Incredibly smooth. I was really, really shocked at that. It feels amazing, nice contoured brass. I don't know what I was gonna say, contoured brass. And it just feels so good in the hand. That choil is fantastic. Excellent plunge grind there right behind that sharpened edge. And just a beautiful knife that is going to patina amazingly well over time with that brass. And then you got this guy here, the fat carbon version with the clutch lock. And obviously you can't really go wrong with this either. There's some real big differences here though between these two. Now I want to stress the handle size is literally the exact same handle size. The difference though, you will notice there is a slightly different amount of blade length. And you notice that more at the end of the knife. As you can see, there's just not as much end of the blade on the Sheepdog clutch lock variant as there is the button lock variant. Slightly longer blade, and I think the exact numbers there are 3.29 inches and 3.14 inches. So nothing really to make a big commotion about, but I thought that was worth noting. They both have great forward finger choils in their own unique way. This one is a little more of a sleeker finger choil that you don't notice quite as much as to where on the brass variant, it's a little more distinguished finger choil up there. Another thing that I want to point out, because fat carbon is always great, don't get me wrong. I love the look of just about every fat carbon knife out there. But the cut on this particular Sheepdog, this is like the jackpot of fat carbon. Like, this is fantastic. I don't know if they cut this at a different angle or if it's just the perfect amount of depth into this piece of fat carbon, but you usually don't see such uniform circles all throughout the carbon fiber. And some people might be laughing thinking I'm silly to say that, but if you're used to fat carbon, you're not used to seeing that. It's definitely more of kind of just a random shapes and whatnot like you see over here. The way the white circles are distributed so well on this handle, it is amazing. It looks so good. So yeah, I don't know if I would expect that on all of them. I would not expect that on all of them. They're not all going to look like that. More of them are going to look like this side of the handle where it's just a little more blotchy with the white and the colors. So I wanted to throw that out there for everyone. But just some fantastic clutch lock action. And let me tell you, we got another knife to look at. This is just the beginning of fantastic clutch lock action. But yeah, if you are a Sheepdog fan, either one of these, if you're a brass fan, I was a lot more satisfied with this brass Sheepdog than I thought I would have been. I expected a lot of things out of it, but it really surprised me at just how smooth it was. So great option here. And of course, fat carbon Sheepdog. I mean, you can't go wrong. Two excellent new variants of Sheepdog now available. And let's move on here to the other clutch lock that I alluded to. This guy right here is the Sub3 OBK, designed by Mikey Carlson, and this was another one that kind of surprised me. We are looking at an overall length of 7.15 inches, a blade length of 2.94 inches, handle length at 4.21 inches, weight coming in at 3.65 ounces, and a price of $89, which, you know, that's pretty much the going rate for a Kizer with a clutch lock, aluminum scales. That's pretty standard. As a matter of fact, the drop bear, I think, was like over 100 when it first came out, if I remember right. So $89 is not bad at all. And this is what you need to know about this knife. That clutch lock action, I don't know if it just how well it all pairs with like the design of the knife and the overall kind of measurements of the thumb stud to the pivot and just how everything is set up. But this thing is dialed in, and I gotta say, this is probably the best clutch lock action I've handled on a Kizer. During the unboxing, I was really surprised at just how smooth, how good the action was. But then, you know, I was carrying this one day, I was fidgeting around with it, and I thought, you know what, I gotta check this with some other ones. So I brought out the other two clutch lock knives that I think are great, the Drop Bear and the Escort. The Escort is probably my number one, and when it comes to just action, I think this is probably the best Kizer model with the clutch lock in terms of just action. Now, for me, I do like the slightly bigger size of the Escort. Very just much my personal preference there. But if you're looking, if you want a knife, so like if you live in an area to where you got to stay under that 3-inch blade limit, but you want a full handle, this is perfect. Like, this is right up your alley. That 2.94-inch blade, but the 4.2-inch handle length, that really is a game changer, especially like if you're out somewhere in California or somewhere else where you got to stay under that 3-inch mark. This is one of the best knives you can get in terms of a knife or a blade that's just under that 3 inches, but a more fuller handle so you can get just a really nice, easy, comfortable grip on it. Some really good things going on there with that handle and blade combination. And then that clutch lock. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So amazing. Yeah, this was another surprise for me. Really, really like this one. And yeah, I think that's the biggest thing to take away from this. Nice sub 3-inch blade, but a nice, full, secure, comfortable handle. Very, very nice. The only thing that I don't love about this, and I kind of pointed this out in the unboxing, is it's not left or right-handed. And I get that sometimes. I mean, I'm sure a lot of lefties out there always want things to be left-handed compatible, and I don't disagree with that. But my biggest gripe is if you're not going to make it left and right compatible, I really wish that clip would have been recessed. That's like the only thing that could make this version better as it is. Blade is great, handle's great, action is freaking amazing, but I would have loved to seen that clip recessed, especially since it wasn't, you know, left-hand friendly. Like, yeah, if you can't move it to the other side, you might as well recess it and make it look really, really good on the side it's on. But that's it. That's the only kind of knock I have on it. Really cool maker's mark there. I like that. But yeah, really, really nice handle. Kind of reminds me of like the Benchmade Mini Freak a little in terms of the handle and blade a little. I couldn't help but not see that, but yeah. Really, really nice offering here from Kizer in the Sub3 OBK. Next up here is the biggest boy of the whole crew. This is the Momo. And the Momo. That is just such a good name. Not the first time I've heard Momo, but not for a knife. Not for a knife. Yeah, I knew someone who referred to their grandmother as Momo. So when I first heard Momo, I was like, oh, a grandma knife? What is this? And this is like the farthest thing from a grandma knife. This is a really big knife is what it is. We have an overall length of 9.45 inches, a blade length of 4.19 inches, and a handle length of 5.26 inches. Blade material on this is 154 cm, which you're pretty used to seeing in all these Kizer models. Weight coming in at 5.32 inches and designed by Vladimir Legachev. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong, but I think I actually hit that right. Vladimir Legachev. Price coming in at $109, which is a little more than we're used to seeing for Kizers like this, but you get a lot of knife. You get a whole lot of knife for $109. So I think this is just one of those examples to where it was so big, you know, the price just had to bump up a little, kind of probably knocked off the yield variances in terms of how much you can get when it comes to, you know, cutting everything out of the sheets and whatnot, putting them together. But I think for $109, you're getting a really awesome knife here. And this is a versatile blade. Really good looking blade. The lines on the handle just really flow together, even kind of the flatter surface of the scales that move up into the swedge. I like that. It leads the eyes real well. Great leading lines, nice slicey blade, stays nice and thin all the way behind the edge there. And this blade here, this is, like I said before, very versatile. This thing is good in the kitchen and it is good in the pocket. There's a lot of things I could see myself doing with this. Even for like some camping, like this would be a great knife for a camping trip if you're gonna use it to like food prep and everything while you're out and about in the wilderness. Or it's also a great knife just to carry because it really does carry very well in the pocket. The one thing that I think a lot of people are gonna have an issue with here is this flipper tab, and this is my thing. Like, I don't have an issue with it. I completely acknowledge it's the biggest flipper tab I've ever seen on a knife. Pretty easily. So yeah, it's noticeable. It's out there. It's kind of like the Dumbo ears of front flipper. No offense there. That's just what I call any type of big flipper, whether it be a big regular flipper or a big front flipper. You know, Dumbo ears. It's easy to relate to. But yeah, it's just really big. But what it is also very easy and very satisfying to kick that blade out. And I also wouldn't really look at it as a pocket pecker or anything, because when you put this in your pocket, this isn't going to be really poking anywhere. You know, when you sit down, your leg's going to come up flat. So I don't really see this being an issue. I don't see this being any type of aggravating point. I carried it for three days. Yeah, 3 days. Didn't have an issue. Like, you don't even really know it's there. Obviously, it's a longer knife, but it's not really a heavy knife. For as long as this is, to be 5.32 ounces is actually pretty standard, pretty good. So no issue with the weight or length. And this pocket clip back here is genius. The way it was designed and the placement of it is just genius because it's in and out of the pocket just fine. And where they put it and how it flows with that handle, this thing damn near disappears in your hand. Like this is seriously almost like holding a fixed blade. You can just feel the base of the clip, but it is so comfortable and so good. So if you're looking for a big knife that doesn't have an annoying wide or noticeable pocket clip on it, man, oh man, this is it. This is the one for you. Fantastic pocket clip. I get real excited about a well thought out pocket clip. And this is one of the better ones I've seen in recent memory. Really, really loving the pocket clip on that. And as you can see, it also has your lanyard hole back there. It made into the back spacer, so that's really nice. If lanyards are your thing. And it actually looks pretty good on this. It's not just the random drilled hole. Incorporated very nicely. Very clean and fresh design. And very, very smooth. Obviously, with a bigger blade, usually you get that type of fall shut action. But this front flipping action, very, very nice. Very pleasing. Another pretty good offering. I don't really have any knocks or like real complaints with this. I know a lot of people may not like that big front flipper tab up there, but you know what? It works. It don't get in the way. And when you have the knife open, it doesn't even exist. So yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I like it. The Momo, one of the biggest Kizers I have handled in a very, very long time. Might be the longest, actually. I'd have to measure this with the Kizer XL and see just how big it compares to it. But man, oh man, is it one nice, slicey, good-looking EDC knife. Next up and last up, we go from the biggest knife to the smallest knife. And yes, I did plan that. And no, these aren't cut marks. I was actually playing with our family dog during the NFL games. And yeah, he won one of the fights, so that's okay. This guy right here, the Kizer Banish from Jacob Lundquist. This thing is freaking amazing. I handled it at Blade Show West back in October, and this front flipper here is too good. Way too good. In terms of a fifth pocket knife, this is up there, guys. This is going to be in the next best fifth pocket knives list whenever that comes. Not for a while, because I just made one late last year. But man, oh man, this thing is stinking amazing. It is fifth pocket perfection, and it is Fidget Bliss. What we're looking at here is an overall length of 5.4 inches, a blade length of 2.3 inches, and a handle length at a whopping 3.1 inches. We have 154 cm blade steel, a weight coming in at 2.24 ounces, designed by Jacob Lundquist, who continues to kill it in the knife world. Really loving his designs. And if you've seen his other designs, you definitely recognize this sway back type of design here that came with his variants that came out. I believe variant PE1 and PE2 back that he, I believe he sold them under his own name, or under his own brand. They were made by, I believe, QSP. But man, oh man, this one here, Kizer did just as good of a job. Reach around approved, and this flipper tab is the most minimal front flipper tab I've seen in a very long time, but it's also just so satisfying, so easy. This pocket clip back here makes the front flipping action, or the action of front flipping the knife, the whole grabbing the knife and having somewhere to grab it, so easy. You can get all 3 fingers back here to where the knife is super secure, and you just pop it out. It is a breeze. Like, you reach around, front flip, as well as the middle finger flick. All of them are so stinking good. Loving this black on black with the black micarta and the black hardware and blade. Excellent little combination here for a 5th pocket knife. Big fan of this. And I didn't even mention the best part. This knife is only 45 bucks. 45 bucks for a Kizer. Even though it is so small, I would have still expected this to be like 59 bucks. There was no way I was thinking this was going to be under 50 bucks. And at 45 bucks, that is a damn good deal for a great, fidgety, rather slicey little knife. This is an excellent little 5th pocket knife. So yeah, lots of options for Kizer this month, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know which knife is your favorite here. And you got all sorts of options. You got fat carbon, you got brass, you got big, you got small, you got aluminum. You got a lot of very good looking knives. No surprise, I wouldn't expect anything else from Kizer. And now it's time for you guys to let me know what you think about all these knives in the comments. Which one you picking up? Which restock? Is there a certain restock you're trying to get on? I know a lot of people are wanting one of those Militas, so those are available, these are available, and that's a wrap for this one, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and until the next one, I'm out.